Hello guys, and welcome to a complete spoiler reading vlog. This is my first spoiler vlog and I'm so excited. I'm gonna be honest, I've been avoiding filming this because I'm dealing with some skin issues currently and I've not been feeling the best, so please be kind. This video is going to be a complete spoiler-filled reading vlog of The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Ruckulick. I don't really know. By my boy Jason, the author of Hidden Pictures. This is his new book that just came out this October. This is the first book in this series of videos I'm going to be doing because, if you don't know, I do have a book club on Fable. It is always linked down below. And this is our October pick. So I am going to each month do a spoiler vlog of that month's book. So this will be the first one. Make sure you join the book club. We are going to be voting on books for November. I'm going to probably figure that out and put that poll up soon. But this is the book we're going to be reading for this video. Again, spoiler filled. If you do not want spoilers, if you have not read it and don't want to hear my thoughts and feelings, click off. Go read it and then come back. If you've read it, let me know what you think. I have not heard the best reviews. My bestie gal Andrea read it and gave it a 3-star, and then I saw my friend Christy read it and I think she gave it 2 stars. So I'm a little bit terrified. There is a map in here, which I think is wild for like a mystery thriller. I did see Jason, I follow him, that this book is more of a mystery than a thriller, and it's not like Hidden Pictures, and I think a lot of people are probably going into it wanting it to be like Hidden Pictures, which, like, I mean, same, but can't compare it too much. It is blurbed by Riley Sager, Mary Kubica, and Grady Hendrix, which I do enjoy all of those authors. Let's go through the literal synopsis. It has been 3 years since Frank Frank last heard from his daughter, and he's devastated by their long, unhappy estrangement. But then an unexpected phone call from Maggie changes everything. She says she's getting married and she wants her father to walk her down the aisle. Frank is overjoyed by the news. Here at last is a chance for a reconciliation, for a perfect opportunity to repair their fractured relationship. But a disturbing discovery about his future son-in-law leads Frank to wonder if Maggie is making a terrible mistake. And once he arrives at the wedding, an extravagant 3-day affair set at a luxurious lakefront, the warning signs keep piling up. Can Frank unravel the truth about Maggie's fiance before it's too late? Question mark. An edge-of-your-seat thriller that delves into love, marriage, family ties. The Last One at the Wedding offers non-stop surprises and brilliant suspense. So I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a suspenseful mystery, not like a heart-pounding mystery. I am excited to give her a go. This is not very long. It is a little over 300 pages, so it probably shouldn't take me too terribly long to read this, so I don't expect this to be a super long video, but just know I'm going to look a lot more hideous in all the other clips because I predominantly read in night in bed looking like a gremlin. You? Do you look cute while you're reading? I absolutely don't. I love the spine of this, but here's to hoping I do enjoy this. I am really excited. Let's get into it. Okay guys, we are gonna get started. Okay guys, I read the first chapter. It is approximately 2 pages long. As I read in the premise, he hasn't talked to his daughter in years, and in this he's just kind of sitting there in the evening chilling. And then he gets a phone call from his daughter, and she's just saying, Dad, and he's like, I guess doesn't really have service in the living room, the kitchen or whatever, so he moves into the different room. He's like, hello, can you hear me, Dad? He's like, are you okay, Dad? Hello, can you hear me? And then he just starts screaming, yes, 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 I can hear you. Where are you? Do you need help? And then the line went dead, call failed. Our first conversation in 3 years, and it hadn't even lasted a minute. Spooky. Let's continue. Okay, 2 chapters have been read. We're done on chapter 2. I'm not gonna update you guys through every chapter. He gets now a call from an unknown number, and it's his daughter Maggie, and it's very weird that she's not, whatever the situation that happened, she is avoiding it. She's like, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm getting married, and despite everything that happened, I want you there. And I'm very curious as to what could have happened. I think that the story is going to be really engaging for me because I do have a really close relationship with my dad. He was a single dad who I was raised by, and so I do think that this story will be quite engaging. We'll read chapter 3, and then I'm gonna take a break and go take a shower, but so far so good. If you don't, just remember down below is linked to the book club if you want to join. I am gonna update in there real quick, and then we will continue on. Okay, I'm already weirded out by this Aiden guy. I'm not even done with the chapter. Aiden is the daughter Maggie's fiance. He's already sketchy, so if we want to put our list here, babe, A-I-D-A-N, Aiden. Aiden is primary weirdo number 1. They, I guess, met 6 months ago at a Halloween party, and they're getting married in 3 months. So from meeting to married in 9 months. Weird. And he does art, but she doesn't really want to like disclose much of that to her dad. His mom's good, but she gets a lot of migraines. I'm already thinking somebody's poisoning her. Weapon of choice, poison. And then he asks about the dad. He's like, oh, he's fantastic, amazing. What does he do? That part's a little complicated. How is it complicated? Well, it's not complicated. It's just more of a conversation than I want to have right now. What the hell is that supposed to mean? It's a straightforward question, Maggie. How does he make a living? The headline is, I'm getting married and I want you to come to the wedding, July 23rd in New Hampshire. But why can't you tell me what his father does? I could tell you, but you'll have more questions and I need to go. I have a dress-fitting attendant. Seamstress is a total psychopath, blah, blah, blah. Oh, is his father in jail? No. Is he a famous actor? Is he famous? Is he an actor? He's not an actor, but he's famous. I told you I don't want to get into it. Just give me the name Maggie and I'll Google him. Now she wants him to come to Boston for dinner. The whole thing about the dad is sketchy, so add Aiden's dad to our sketch list. I do find it very, very weird. So she wants him to come to this dinner on Saturday, but it's like not wanting to talk about anything that happened that caused this rift between them. And she's just like, okay, so like from what I'm gathering, it's been 3 years since he's talked to or seen his daughter, and then one night she just calls and is like, yeah, you want to come to my wedding to this guy I barely know? Haha. And can you make the drive all the way up to Boston this Saturday at 7 o'clock? And whatever. Like, it's just very odd. Honestly, add Maggie to the sketch list. She's sketchy. He's like, but I can't end the call without one more attempt at an apology. Listen, Maggie, I'm so sorry for everything, okay? I felt so awful these past few years. I know I screwed up. I should have handled things better, and I wish... And she just hangs up on him. Very weird, very sketchy. His wife is dead. I'm not going to read the next chapter yet, but it does say that she died of a brain aneurysm. So, she worked at a Michael's craft store. So, like, this is also broken up into parts. This is part 1, the invitation. And I only say that because, like, the chapters start over, like, part 5, and then it's, like, chapter 1 again. So, I'm on part 1, chapter 4. Chapters are really, really short, like, 3 or 4 pages. So I'm very much so interested in continuing, but everybody so far is sketchy, and after reading Jason's first book, Hidden Pictures, I'm very intrigued to see where this one goes. So far, suspicious of every single person. Also, just thinking about us typing up for the book club like chat thing, my current theory, after 14 whole pages, is that Maggie isn't Maggie, that she's like some sort of doppelganger, or maybe when they go to dinner, which we'll find out more in a minute, she won't even look like herself, but she'll be like, well, it's been 3 years, like, a lot can change, and she's gonna look really different, or be really different, or somehow be, like, not actually her, and that, like, maybe Maggie's actually dead, and this is just some, like, body double. I don't know, my mind is whirling and twirling. Okay, guys, we are getting fully into gremlin mode, and it's now dark in here, which you can't tell because I have the brightness up on my camera. Actually, I don't. It's at 0, but it's auto-correcting to make it look brighter, and my face does not look this bad in person, I promise. But since we're in the dark, vibing out, we're gonna get to reading this on the Kindie. There is a world in which I finish this tonight because it's only 7 o'clock. There's like 5 hours until midnight, and how long is this bad bitch? Just over 300 pages. Yeah, I'll probably read this all tonight. I'm hoping that I don't. I want to make sure I'm doing like an adequate amount of updates for you. This is my first like spoiler filled video. I have another spoiler series that's going to be coming out soon. It'll probably be my next reading vlog after this one, but if there is a world in which I don't finish this today, I'll definitely finish it tomorrow. As well as tomorrow I have a hair appointment, and I will not be reading this at my hair appointment because I can't give you guys updates on how it's going. So at my hair appointment tomorrow, the roots will not be looking as horrifying. During my hair appointment, I think I'm gonna read My Roommate is a Vampire. The book's pretty short as well, and I could read that whole thing at my hair appointment. My hair appointments are usually like 3 or 4 hours, so it'll just depend on how much my hairdresser talks to me. So glasses on, down to read. Y'all, you weren't recording this whole time, but I did just get my whole Kindle setup, you know? I like did the whole thing with like my arm and my page turner. Please don't fall. I'm talking to you guys. Chris reminded me to, I'm gonna link the arm and the page turner that I have. I've only had to charge my page turner one time since I've had it. I will admit that I did break it. It had it clipped around more like a ring, but I played with it too much and I broke it, but it still like stays on my finger just fine. I've only had to charge it one time, so I do really like it. Continue on with our reading. Y'all, this is like the funniest way to describe somebody dying, and I feel like I have a very morbid sense of death, but it says, Colleen used to work at a Michael's arts and crafts store. One minute she's helping a school teacher look for a glitter glue. Next thing you know, she's down on the floor. The lights out. Oh my God. This is so funny. He's talking about like how Maggie and Aiden already live together, and he's like, how much do they pay art teachers? And I googled how much they pay art teachers, and let me tell you, it's not good. The median salary was 40 grand, and that's not gonna go far in a city like Boston. 40 grand won't get you more than a couple of cans of baked beans. Honestly, in this economy, facts. Just as I said the chapters were short, this next chapter is like 15 pages, and I don't like that behavior. Y'all, I love Frank. He's so cute already. The fact that he said that he had to get his daughter a bouquet of flowers, and then he went to the store to buy Pepperidge Farm Milano cookies because they were always his favorite, and 2 small fire extinguishers because he just thought that it would really help them out because they're a young couple, and he's just like reminding me of my dad. My dad always goes out of his way whenever I go home to visit. He's talking about going to Sam's Club, but like my dad will go to BJ specifically to pick up my favorite muffins, and I love him. He just mentioned that she looks different. What did I tell you? She used to be like a tomboy, XYZ, now her hair's grown out and it's fuller and she's dressing fancy and whatever, but this place is fucking weird. It's like a office building, but also randomly has like penthouse apartments. I don't know. It's very sketchy. I'm not liking the vibes at all. And they did give you pronunciation of Frank's last name, but I already forgot it. But he did mention that she looks different, and I'm just like, what did I just say? We'll see. Aiden's paintings are creepy. All of these faces staring out with their cold expressions, looking they've been photographed against their will. Haven't even met Aiden yet, and I do not like him, but I feel like, I don't even know what the mystery is yet, but I feel like it can't be Aiden because it's too obvious, you know, but I don't like him. Okay, so Aiden's rich. Whatever. I don't really know why she's acting like that. It's such like a hard thing to say, but I'm still so sketched out. He's like, I want to talk about what happened, and she's like, nah, I forgive you, it was all good. And it's really sketching me out. Times 10. Okay, I just finished chapter 5, and I'm gonna go there. Somebody else wrote something in chapter 5 in the app so far, so I'm gonna go read what they said. But as of right now, I'm not buying the story. So like Aiden has like a cut on his face and like a bruise on his hairline, and he's saying he got mugged. I don't believe it. I think that Maggie beat the shit out of him. I think Maggie is a villain. I don't like her because she's being very controlling. Like everything they do, she's like, we're not talking about it. That's it. We're done talking about the mugging. Let's move on to something nicer. And then Frank like said that Aiden's pictures were really good and they looked really realistic. They could almost be a photograph. And like she bit her dad's head off about that and is being like an asshole. And so I just honestly think Maggie beat the shit out of him. And that's where I'm at. So I just finished chapter 6 and it's so weird because he found something taped to the inside of like the tank of the toilet. Because the toilet was like running or whatever. He went to use the bathroom. In the last book I just read, that was also part of the plot. So it's just really weird that it's happening again. But he was saying that everything was going well until then. And now we're like flipping forward to Sunday. So I hope they tell us what that was about. Because now I'm confused. What was in the toilet? It was the same type of plastic bag you'd find in a kitchen trash can. Trimmed and cut into the kind of small pouch. I poked in my finger and felt something hard inside. It was the same size and dimensions of a checkbook. So interesting. He didn't open it because he couldn't have opened it without destroying it, and now we'll never know. Well, I'm sure we will know, but not right now, and I'm sad. I don't like Maggie or Aiden or either of them. Like, the fact that they're just, like, dismissing any time that Frank wants to see them or do anything with them. Like, what was the point of reaching back out and reconnecting if you're just gonna be, like, rude and not want to actually have a relationship? Like, why does she even want him there? It's all a trap. I don't like it. So Frank got home from work from his hair appointment, and there was just randomly, like, I think pushed under his door in his mailbox, an envelope with just like his name on it and a stamp, and inside is like a shitty home print job of a picture of like Aiden, who's like in the picture he's a little bit heavier, so he didn't notice or recognize him at first. And there's a woman with him in the picture, and handwritten on it is, "Where is Dawn Taggart?" Why do I think new Maggie is Dawn Taggart or something? I don't know. But now he's having is more sketched out about Aiden. Because, like, is this girl missing? Did Aiden make her disappear? I don't know. Or did Maggie kill Dawn out of jealousy? Okay, so the info we're getting is that Dawn and Aiden, according to Maggie, only went on one date, but I'm not buying that because the picture, they look cozy, his arms around her waist, like more than something you would do on a first and only date. But she went missing after a hike. She's like, but Aiden had nothing to do with it. He was however many miles away in Boston. Like, it wasn't him. 200 miles away. Like, he has an alibi. It wasn't him. He was cleared. The whole thing's a ploy for money. And I just feel like Maggie has something to do with it. Without a doubt. She's just so sketchy. Okay, so Frank's sister Tammy is a foster parent, and I guess, like, the night before they're leaving for the wedding, she had, like, they were in a pinch and needed somebody to foster this girl, Abigail. So she was like, okay, like, I have to take her with me to this wedding, and it's, like, across state lines, and they approved it or whatever. And so Frank's at Tammy's house, waiting to get ready to leave, and Abigail has on the news. And it was like this lady whose house burnt down. Frank is saying, she was saying all these awful things. This is the worst day of my life. A horrible, horrible day. From this day forward, nothing will ever be the same. And the way she looked at the camera, I felt like she was talking to me. Like some kind of omen. Seems like bad news. Seems like very, very, very bad news. Hope it's not a bad omen for my boy Frank. So, they stopped off somewhere at like a bar to go to the bathroom, and there's like a poster about Dawn or whatever. Is that her name? Dawn, yeah. Basically, there's a poster about her like being missing, and like the owner comes down, and I guess Dawn was his niece. And so Frank's being kind of like evading, saying like why they're there and that his daughter's marrying, whatever. But then Tammy and Abigail come back from the bathroom and don't know like that this whole awkward encounter is happening. So she's like, oh my god, Maggie's in this newspaper, da 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 da. And this guy, his name is Brody, is basically said that Dawn is his niece and she got pregnant with Aiden Gardner's baby and he killed her. So things are heating up. I'm stressed, but I still think it's Maggie. Maybe Maggie killed her. Maybe Maggie is the hitman. I don't like Maggie. Okay, so Brody doesn't work and or own the bar. He was just there, and apparently he's the town's village idiot. And a lot of people in the town just like to blame the gardeners for everything because they're rich. He's like, flat tire, blame the gardeners. Losing your hair, blame the gardeners. Too much traffic, blame them. It's always their fault, but nobody in their right mind would blame Aiden. And I don't think it's Aiden, but I do think it's Maggie. Like, until she stops acting horrible, it's gonna be Maggie. They're signing a privacy doc, basically like a non-disclosure, non-competition agreement to get in to the wedding venue. This shit is wackadoodle. I cannot wait to meet Errol. I'm very sketched out that the spot where they got engaged and are having the wedding is the same spot in which the picture that was sent to Frank of Dawn and Aiden was taken. Seems cursed. Okay, so Maggie blew Frank off for hanging out, of course, because she sucks. And then Frank went to go explore, and he saw Aiden walking off with this redheaded woman, so he obviously followed. And they, like, he followed him. He's like, well, I'm supposed to be exploring. I'm just going to go down this path. So he followed him down this path, and it brought him to, like, this overgrown, like, not taken care of part of the property with, like, a small, like, shack, basically. And he's eavesdropping on their conversation, and it's really sketchy because the girl's like, you need to tell Margaret. You got to tell her the truth. Why are you doing this to me? Da, 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 da. Why are you threatening me? And then he gets caught that he's there, but he's like, oh yeah, I'm just out exploring and I think I got myself lost. And I don't know if Aiden believes him or not, but Aiden, like, invites him in because it's, like, his studio. And I guess, like, this is built back in the day, and there's, like, this weird staircase to take him to some, like, safe room type thing. But I feel like if you follow that staircase, we're going to be finding Dawn. And I'm nervous. So, Aiden's dad and his friend Jerry, and his dad's name is Errol, but I literally just think of the owl in Harry Potter. But anyhow, so it's Errol, Jerry, Aiden, and Frank are all together, like, having a drink, some bourbon, whatever. And they're looking at the picture that, like, he got in the mail. And they are saying that it's a fake, and that because he's never brought her there, and that they must have photoshopped it. But I just don't believe these people. And I just posted in the Fable app. I really do feel like Catherine's being poisoned because, like, they keep bringing up this whole headache situation, but I feel like somebody's, like, inducing these headaches to, like, keep her shut up or something. Like, maybe she knows something about Dawn, and they're trying to, like, make her unable to talk about it or something. Okay, so the plot thickens. Apparently, Maggie is Aiden's entire alibi about where he was when Dawn went missing. He was at her apartment, and Frank's not believing it because, according to him, her apartment was dark, drab, dingy, gross, and she hated being there. So, like, why, if she was spending the whole weekend, Friday to Sunday, with Aiden and he's a gajillionaire, why were they spending it in, like, her shitty apartment? Why wouldn't they be at some luxury hotel ordering room service? And she's like, he's a beautiful soul, I trust him, da da da. And the dad's like, but you're his entire alibi, like, you didn't tell me this. And she's like, I thought I did. And he's like, no, you didn't. And he's like, are you saying you have zero doubts because he has a beautiful, gentle soul, or because he was at your apartment when she disappeared? But I'm in the mindset, if he has that much money, he doesn't need to be there to make somebody disappear. It's all sketchy, it's all sketchy. And he's like, you know, she's 20, like, talking about, like, young love. I can tell you right now, when I was 25, no. That's all I know. I don't like it, I don't trust it, I don't believe it. Maybe I'm just overthinking things because, you know, it's what I do. But this says, good man, Errol said. And then he rested his hand on the small of Maggie's back. I'm sorry, but, like, I mean, my father-in-law has unfortunately passed away. But if my father-in-law put his hand on the small of my back, I would be so grossed out. If literally anybody besides my husband guided me with their hand on the small of my back, don't like it. Don't like it at all. Okay, so Frank snuck off during the party to try to introduce himself to Aiden's mom, but she won't answer the door, and then he hears somebody say, well, she's not going to answer, and he turns around and it's Gwendolyn. And Gwen's like, you need to get your daughter out of here and get her to call off the wedding and run away, like bad things are happening. And he's like, is this about Dawn? And she's like, this is so much worse than Dawn. Dawn's the least of your concerns right now. And he's like, but what's going on? And she's like, I can't tell you, you seem too nice, blah blah blah. And he's like, I was in the war, I've seen things, da 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 da. And she's like, tomorrow they're going for a hike, tell him you don't feel well, and I'll meet you at 11 and I'll tell you everything. And I can't wait to find out. Creepy. Frank is getting ready to head back to his room, and he looked up and saw the mom standing in like the window, and he felt like she was watching him, so she waved, and to his surprise she waved back and then turned off the light and walked away. What's going on with Catherine? I'm also arriving at part 3 of 5. We're about 48% into the book thus far, so we'll see. I don't think I'm gonna make it through the whole book tonight. I still have 3 hours left, and I'm getting kind of sleepy, and I have to be up very early. I actually might just call it quits here and resume tomorrow, because something tells me I'm not gonna work much tomorrow because I have to be up so early, and I'll probably want to take a nap, so it do be what it do be. Hello friends, it is the next day. And I am like 42% into this book. I took a break after that. And then today I had a hair appointment. How are we looking? Looking cute. I read a different book at my appointment because I wanted to be able to update you while I was reading this one, obviously. But then I came home and took a nap because I only slept like 2 hours last night. Now I ate dinner and it is 5:43. So I'm going to take a shower because honestly I'm freezing to death. And then I'm hoping to bust through the rest of this book today. I only have, according to my Kindle, 3-ish hours left. And for me, the second half of the book is usually quicker to read than the first half. So hopefully we can fly through once the this part starts to occur. You guys, Frank was sleeping and he woke up to many spiders crawling on him. And now I feel like there's bugs crawling on me. Maggie and Frank just went on a canoe ride, and on their way back there was a huge crowd of people at the lodge. And basically what I'm gathering is they're pulling a body out of the water, and it says it has long red hair. So tell me that Gwendolyn is dead before she can even give us any information about Catherine. I should have seen this coming. R.I.P. Gwendolyn. Maybe she's not dead. It just says I stared until it assumed a kind of form, and its parts came into focus. Slender bare legs, an open white robe. Long red hair. Okay, it was definitely Gwen, and she's dead, and Maggie's like, I'll go tell Aiden, and Maggie's like really quick to be like, oh yeah, well like she does drugs, so like she probably just overdosed. And Maggie's claiming to be the last one to have seen her. Maggie is so sketchy. So now I'm convinced Maggie did something to Gwen to shut her up about Catherine. And also Frank offered to like stay with Catherine while they go on the hike, and Maggie's like, no. I'm really sketched out about Maggie still. Frank just called Vicky, his hairdresser, to explain what's going on, and basically their theory is that Errol is covering for Aiden, and that Aiden killed Dawn and Gwen, and Maggie is too lovesick to do anything about it. My theory is that Maggie and Errol are working together to kill these girls, and that Aiden is depressed. Okay, so my clear and concise at part 3, chapter 6, thoughts and feelings at 50% of this book is that Maggie and Errol are working together and killing these girls, Dawn and Gwendolyn, anybody who like poses any threat to their money, and that Aiden is absolutely clueless and just depressed about everything, and that they're poisoning Catherine because she knows too much. Frank went and met with Dawn's family, and they explained everything that they thought that was like happened to Dawn. And now he's back, and he's like telling Maggie everything, and she's flipping out on him naturally. And it was proven that the photo is photoshopped because he has 2 left hands in the picture. Now I don't know what to believe. This has nothing to do with the plot, but they're at their rehearsal dinner, and it's like lobster themed, and it's just making me have a hankering for lobster. I am stressed out. Frank just broke into Catherine's room. They're eating dinner, and he literally like swiftly stole Aiden's phone so that he could use it to unlock Catherine's room. And he said when he walked in, there's clothes everywhere, and there's a horrible smell, and I swear to God if Catherine is dead. Catherine is not dead, but I think she's implying that Dawn was sleeping with Errol, not Aiden. I told you Errol was behind it all. I told you he was behind it all. So, Dawn got knocked up by Errol, and then she confronted Catherine and Aiden about it because only a mother would understand, and she made all these demands amounting to $45,000. And though that's like pocket change, essentially, to Dawn, or to Catherine, she was offended by this girl's demands and said they don't give money to whores. And now she's saying that Catherine just kept going on about all the vile things her husband liked to do to her. And then she says that she bopped her on the head. Are we saying that Catherine is a killer? What? Dawn fell down the stairs after they bopped her in the head. And then she ran down the stairs, and then it was a whoopsie daisy and a bang, bang, bang all the way down. What? What is happening? And so Frank said, what does this have to do with Margaret? She's like, oh, did I forget to mention the part of Margaret? And then they busted in Hugo and Aiden and are like, you need to leave. And then she says, please just answer me. What's the part with Margaret? Your daughter is a blessing. The nurse was already rolling up Catherine's sleeves and giving her an injection. Within seconds, her eyes were fluttering. She said, we'd be lost without her. And then she was gone. The nurse proceeded to tend to her with a well-practiced efficiency, while Hugo ushered me out of the hallway and Aiden followed behind us. She does not have migraines. They're drugging her because she knows too much, just like I thought. Y'all, this chapter is heating up. So they're like, they're like giving him some bullshit thing that happened. Like, nope, didn't happen. You can't trust her. Now, do you believe us? And make it convincing. And he's like, I don't know. Depends. Like, does Maggie know what's going on? Aiden's like, yes, she knows everything. We should have been more honest with you. And Hugo's like, basically, we need to get the lawyer and have the conversation together. And Aiden's like, nah, you go find him. I'm going to make things right with Frank. We could have saved ourselves a lot of trouble if we'd just been honest with him from the beginning. I'm stressed. Aiden is claiming that Maggie is getting everything she wants, but she won't tell Frank the truth about the wedding. What do you mean the truth about the wedding? I'm so stressed. Frank walked in on Errol and Maggie fucking. I knew it. I knew something was going on between them when he touched the small of her back. I just knew it. So gross. So gross. Okay, we are getting into part 5 of the story. We are 62% in, 2 hours left in our reading journey, and I am standing strong that I think that Maggie and Errol are working together. Also, Hugo came in and smacked my boy Frank with a baton, and Maggie saw him coming and didn't warn her dad, because Maggie sucks. So Tammy, Frank's sister, is being really weird about all of this, and now I'm starting to be suspicious of Tammy. And, like, I feel like maybe her and Maggie weren't estranged all of these years, and maybe she already knows everything. I don't think I like Tammy. Tammy is now claiming to be basically looking the other way of these multiple murders because she doesn't want to lose her shares that she's being gifted of, like, this company that Errol owns. I do not like her. How do you just ignore multiple murders? She's like, yeah, well, like, I want to retire, so, like, I'm just going to look the other way. What? We're finally learning what happened between, I think, Maggie and Frank, and basically she, like, came home after a bout of not being home, and she's trying to get him, her dad, to lie and say that, like, he doesn't know when she got there. He just woke up in the morning and she was there, and he's like, well, you have to tell me why. And she's like, what happened to no questions asked? When I was a teenager, you said if I needed anything, like, if I was out partying, XYZ, to just call you, no questions asked. That's the dad I need right now. And, like, I guess Maggie's known for being very manipulative. And so, like, he falls for it, and he goes to take out the trash, and he sees a trash bag in the trash with all of Maggie's, like, clothes from the day before in it. Like, her sweater, her jeans, a baseball cap, her bra, underwears, gloves. And he just brings it out to the curb. It's all so sketchy. Okay, so the police are there questioning Frank about Maggie and, like, the past. Is I think what, like, led to the rift between them. And basically, Maggie was working at this cell phone repair shop, and it, like, went up in flames, and the owner is being charged with arson. But it turns out Maggie and the owner, like, had a fling. And the night that it burned down was the night that she showed up at her dad's house and was like, just pretend you don't know what time I got here. So I think Maggie burned down that building for money. I think Maggie's a gold digger. Okay, we got to the bottom of why they stopped talking. Frank did not lie to the police for her. He wanted to help her because I guess Maggie has kind of like a shady past. She would start fights in school. She was a shoplifter, and like the police were like, there's still time to save her, we need to like get her help, so like you need to tell the truth. And he did, and that's why they stopped talking. And now I'm thinking that Errol covered for her because she was working at Kappa City at this point. So Maggie is basically telling them how she was sleeping with Errol this whole time, and then they were coming to have like a romantic time at like the Osprey or whatever it's called, and that's when they found Aiden and Catherine there and Dawn dead. They're explaining how they hid her body, and as she's telling the story, it says Maggie laughed. She's a psychopath. So Maggie's evidently doing all of this because she has like recorded conversations of everything between all these people and all their lies and murder, and she will expose them. But they made a deal that she wouldn't expose them, basically. If she marries Aiden and they're together for 6 to 12 months and they divorce and they have a prenup, that they split their assets 50-50, and so she'll get half of his stocks in the company and half of everything that he has. So she's literally doing it all for money. Okay, the bunker finally came back into play. Aiden's hiding in there, doesn't want to go through the wedding, wants to tell everybody the truth about what happened. I knew Aiden wasn't a bad guy. I knew that everybody else was sketchy and that Aiden was just like feeling guilty, and correct, that is what's happening. But Frank's trying to turn his back on Maggie and be like, we need to get out of here, this shit is crazy. But I think they just got caught. I'm scared. Y'all, Aiden bopped himself. What? Poor kid, feel horrible for him. Apparently, he's not even Errol's real kid because he did a DNA test on him when he was 10. And so from there on out, he just like treated him like shit because he wasn't his kid. He's like, yeah, I just kind of like left him and Catherine to deal with like life and went on my way. I mean, I still paid for him financially or support him financially, but like didn't give a shit because he wasn't my kid. These people are all crazy. They're all cuckoo. But I have one more chapter left, and then we're on to part 5, which is the final part. Also, it's kind of awkward because Chris is sitting next to me, so I just feel like an idiot talking to myself. But Aiden had told Frank, like before he offed himself, that he left him something in their cabin and that it would help protect him. And all it is an envelope with $1,000. And Frank's like, I'm not really sure what kind of protection $1,000 is gonna buy. So now I'm like very intrigued by what this gift is. We have reached part 5 and we have 1 hour-ish left in the book because I'm sure that the 14 minutes is just like random shit at the end. But here we go, baby, we're in the final stretch. Okay, so Frank was forced into retirement because he crashed his UPS truck. I don't really know what any of this has to do with the story other than like all of these things are happening and he's not talking to Maggie. Like she didn't even come see him in the hospital. But this feels like a kind of like a weird epilogue, but there's still 20% of the book. I don't know. Abigail, his sister's foster daughter, he like babysat her basically all summer and helped her experience a bunch of things she's never experienced, like Italian food. But this whole part seems very weird and I'm not like feeling like I understand how it fits into the plot. Frank's watching Abigail and he like is putting her to bed and he sees this map of like the camp and is like, where'd you get this? And she was like, Aiden gave it to me. Here's the note or whatever. And Frank connects the dots because he was so like, why did Aiden say it would like give me protection to give me $1,000? Frank and Abigail switched bedrooms. So the $1,000 was supposed to go to Abigail and he was supposed to get the map, and on the map in the water there's an X marking a spot. And I bet you that's where Dawn's body is. Oh my god. Y'all, I think these loony bins are trying to kill Abigail. And I'm gonna flip out if that's what happens. What the fuck? Frank is back in the apartment and he slid off to the bathroom to like warn Tammy that somebody's coming for Abigail, and he went back into the toilet tank and took what was in there, what's been hidden since like chapter 2, and it's like the hard drive that has all of the recorded conversations is blackmail. He's taken it. He also demanded 5,000 stocks for his silence, and honestly I don't know what he's gonna do with it, but it kind of made Errol be shaking in his boots a little. Okay, Frank has whatever the recordings are on. He's on the run. He pulled the fire alarm trying to escape because Maggie knows he took it, but she can't admit what he took because then everybody will know she secretly recorded them. And he's like, I gotta just keep running. I can't look back. And yeah, bro, just like, she didn't pick your side. She's like made her bed. Now she needs to lie in it. Like, I don't really know why we're still trying to like engage with this chick. Okay, so Vicky and Frank are listening to some of the recordings, and in the beginning, when our boy Aiden had bruises on his face, it's all because he didn't want to do this dinner with her dad because it was more than they like agreed upon. And so one of the security guards beat the fuck out of him to convince him to do it. Like, oh my god. I think I have only 2 chapters left. Yeah, on chapter 8, which is only 5 pages, and then chapter 9, which is like only a couple of pages, so we're almost done. This next chapter is like 7 months later, and Tammy's adopting Abigail, and Abigail's okay. I love that. Abigail's school, the 5th graders had to write essays about their heroes, and she wrote about her dad, Frank, even though he's really her uncle, but she said that, here are some fun facts about my father. He was a soldier in the army. He fought in the Gulf War. He worked for UPS and drove 1,000,000 miles to deliver the stuff you need. He is good at canoeing, making grilled cheese, and getting the bugs out of my room, and he is good at taking care of me. I could cry. Why is that so sweet? He hated her so much at the beginning, and now he loves her. Why is that part better than the mystery of the story? Okay, just finished it. Maggie's in jail. Everybody else got away scot-free because they have a gajillion dollars, and she's serving 3 to 5 years for obstruction for justice, and Frank went to visit her on his birthday. She refused to see him, and then he was leaving to go to his birthday dinner with Vicky, Tammy, and Abigail, which is a good thing because fuck Maggie, she sucks. I feel like this book is like a 3.5. Good, but not great. You know what I mean? I liked it. I didn't love it, but we'll give our full review tomorrow. I need to like sit on my thoughts. Okay guys, we have made it to the end of reading The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Ruckulick. And I have talked to a couple of people about this, both my friends Andrea and my friend Christy, and Christy hated this book. Andrea thought it was okay. I need to go revisit what's going on in the book club. From my senses so far is that everybody's not liking Maggie, and thought that it started kind of slow, which I do agree with. And my basic takeaway was this: I did end up giving it 4 stars on Goodreads because there aren't half stars. I'm sorry for the background noise. My husband is the loudest dishwasher in the entire world. But I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. I do think it's more 3.5. I would feel more strongly about my 4 stars if this was not classified as a thriller or mystery, because I didn't find it thrilling and I didn't find it a mystery. It felt kind of more so just like a fiction book about like hard times in life and going through shit, which I love. Contemporary fiction. I love fiction books. I love stories that are about hard things. It's like, if you can see the books on my shelf, like all of my Ellen Hopkins books, it felt more like what an Ellen Hopkins book would be like written about. I like those kind of books. I like sad books. I like that kind of thing, but I just think that this was not marketed properly. I do think it's beautiful. I think the gold on the spine is beautiful, and I do recommend it, but just don't go into it thinking anything about Hidden Pictures, because it is nothing like Hidden Pictures. They aren't even related. They don't feel like they're even written by the same person, if I'm being honest with you. But I loved Frank. I loved Abby. I loved a lot of the characters. Hated Maggie from the beginning, and I did literally from like 20 or 40, at 40% I had texted Andrea, and I was like, I think that Maggie and Errol are fucking, and I think that Maggie is the bad guy. And I wasn't really wrong about that. So I think having basically knowing so much and guessing so much of it correct was kind of a downer, but that is that. Those are my thoughts on The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Ruckulick. I've probably said the same 1,000 different times in different ways in this video, but let me know what you guys think. If you've read this book, don't forget our book club is always linked down below, and it is the most low maintenance book club. If you don't like the book we're reading, don't read it. No pressure. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.